I'm Tom Martino. The first Lasik eye surgery was performed in Italy 20 years ago. Now, just a few years later, we had it done in the United States, and here in Colorado, the first surgeon to do Lasik surgery, Dr. John Dishler, our Lasik expert. And he continues to be on the cutting edge of this technology, and he's here today with one of his patients that recently had Lasik, Eva Bernanzoni, and she's with us. Oddly enough, it was the first surgery in Italy, and you brought an Italian-American with you.
To honor
Bernanzoni.
that.
Okay.
Yes.
Or her husband's Italian-American, either way. Okay, now, let's talk about Lasik surgery, because people said, okay, Tom, 20 years ago, and it's getting better and better and better and better, maybe I should wait. Because people do ask that, Dr. Dishler.
They do.
We ought to address that right up front, because it is a 20-year-old technology. With any technology, there's a certain curve that stops.
Right, and I think that's the important thing. You bring that up. It's now been refined to the point over, say, the last 4 or 5 years with the modern all-laser method that it has reached a plateau of stability where it's really not going to get very much better, and where it's really, really good now. I mean, it was pretty good 20 years ago, and I think to your viewers, the important thing is 20 years is a long time in the medical world when something's been out for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's sort of a mark that, hey, it's been out long enough, we can accept it. So
now the refinements are minor.
Very, very minor, and we've been basically doing things, you know, the same way pretty much for the last couple of years, and the refinements are very, very small. So people can feel confident now that if they've been waiting, now's a good time to have this done.
And you have one of the latest developments over the last few years, the bladeless technology, and we'll talk to Eva in a second here, but why is bladeless important for consistency? Why is that?
Well, people don't realize Lasik has 2 steps. The first step is making the flap. That's the most critical step.
Okay, now let's talk about that, because when you talk about the correction is not made there.
Right, not on the surface. We have to lift up a thin membrane on the front of the eye, and then we do the laser underneath, and then we put the membrane back down.
And that laser then reshapes that so it focuses.
Right. Right.
And then the flap goes back.
Right, but the surgical part's making the flap, and since now we can do that with a laser, we were the first to introduce that with Intralase about 10 years ago, and now you have an even better laser, one we used for Eva here, that's the Visumax, and it allows us to make a perfectly curved, perfectly centered little very, very thin flap, half the thickness that we used to make it, so we don't go as deep into the eye. We can do people who weren't previously candidates for surgery.
Very important here. Let's talk about these points right here.
Sure.
The first to introduce and perfect this Intralase, what is that?
Well, Intralase
what is the second word there?
Intralase femtosecond laser. That's the laser that makes the flap. So briefly, there's 2 steps. The first is a femtosecond laser. The first one was Intralase. We still have one of those, and we also have a more advanced one.
Now, what is this 80 excimer laser? What does that mean? Is there a meaning to that? I mean, is it the first in Colorado to use the Zeiss?
The Mel 80, that's the brand of the laser. So Zeiss is known for optics, and worldwide there's been millions of procedures done on their laser system. We're the only ones that have it in Colorado. The important message is you want to have the most advanced technology. There's a few good lasers. We think we have the very best, the good technology, and because we were there in the beginning, we've been involved with industry, constantly being able to introduce the very latest things that are out there. So we're involved in clinical studies. We're involved in clinical studies, as we talked about, with an implant. And we have the state-of-the-art procedure. So it's very important when people are looking at LASIK, you can still have LASIK done with the laser that was available 20 years ago, because it's still FDA approved. But you don't want that. You want to have current technology.
Well, it's quicker, and as we can see, it treats more of the eye, and you can do a deeper correction. Why don't you talk about that? It used to be you can only correct a certain amount of vision problem.
Right. Now we can correct larger amounts because we can make the flap so thin, because we can treat eyes we couldn't treat before, because we can treat eyes of any shape. We can now treat people that we couldn't treat before.
Now, Eva had 2,400, 20/400.
That's the big E. Yeah,
that means what people could see at 400, she had to go up to 20 feet to see. Well, and you're a wife, you're a mom. You're in sales.
Yep.
How did this change your perspective?
It has been completely awesome. I don't have to think about putting contacts in every morning. I don't have to fish around for my glasses in the middle of the night.
And fishing around for sure. You didn't see anything.
Not much, no. So it's definitely something I relied on heavily. So the freedom of having eyes that see 20/20 now is absolutely amazing.
2020. Did
Yeah.
you ever think it was even possible?
I was hoping it was.
And you found
now
out
I'm
about
proof.
Dr. Dishler. And I
Yeah.
want to know, I always love asking this after a surgery, the peak. You know, because they say now, most of your results will come over a few hours, but everyone peaks. So what did you notice first?
I saw the clock right off the
Everyone
bat.
talks about your famous clock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they can't see it beforehand. They get it done, and then they're sitting there in this lounge
way
chair,
across the room.
and they look across the room, and they can see the clock. And Eva,
Amazing, huh?
But
It's
the
amazing.
important thing about Eva, too, Eva, talk about how your husband went to a different laser center.
He did.
All right, what happened?
Well, I did a lot of due diligence and decided that I needed a lot of answers to a lot of questions that I had, and
Sure.
Dr. Dishler's office and his staff were really the most patient and knowledgeable with the questions that I had, so it made my decision very easy.
Now, you have great results,
Yes.
but what about the process? Because people always, they tend to believe the nice results, but they don't know the feelings going through it.
It was easy. It was very quick. It was, a long road deciding, because it is a little bit
Yes,
scary.
it is.
Thinking that there's going to be a blade.
More in the anticipation.
Right.
Than the actual
absolutely.
procedure.
But once I was there and working with his staff, they pretty much held my hand all the way through, and Dr. Dishler walked me through it. I knew exactly what was happening the entire time and felt very comfortable. So.
And the actual correction, I think this is what we get too. People are amazed at how fast it goes.
It was very quick.
I mean, the actual correction is like, and then you had the peak, and you could see immediately, and it just got better. And this affects you, of course, with everything, I imagine.
It does,
with
absolutely.
your kids, and did you have bad eyesight your whole life?
I started wearing contacts in 9th grade.
So this is
Yeah.
this is amazing. Do
It
you
is.
find yourself reaching?
I do. It's just, that extra step before going to bed is no longer there. Waking up in the morning is easy, and I can just get on with my day.
Now, Dr. Dishler, of course, has been doing this for 15 years, the first in Colorado, the most advanced technology, more than 50,000 procedures personally. He sees each and every patient. Okay? Now, here's what we're offering. We're going to extend this anniversary special, is that right?
I guess so. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to extend the anniversary special to the end of October. But I also want to mention...
we want to talk about that. We want to talk about...
Before you talk about that, let me mention, though, that since it's been 20 years, 15 years ago when we started doing LASIK, it cost the same amount as it does today. And when you consider the change in value of things, I mean, and with our special, it's even less expensive. So you're getting way more technology for a lot less money in today's dollars.
So let's go over that, by the way. This is $395 off the already guaranteed lowest price for the same correction and same technology. No one can touch it. He has the lasers, he has the technology, new patient LASIK exam, consultation, aftercare for a year, no extra charge for custom bladeless technology. He even has 24-month financing. You can call for details on that. This is extended through the end of September. And what about people coming in from out of town? You have arrangements with the hotels?
We have a hotel close by. We'll take care of them. We'll put them up in the hotel. We have about a third of our patients come from out of state.
And that's good to know, because he has that. If you have loved ones, relatives, in fact, Paula's mom went there.
That's right.
And
great.
And you know who's going there tomorrow? One of our colleagues we'll talk
right,
about.
Natalie Tisdale.
Natalie. She said we could talk about it, so we're going to talk about it. 303-793-3000, 303-793-3000, Dishler.com. Dishler.com. And by the way, she's very excited about this, Dr.
Yes,
Dishler.
she's been looking forward to this for a long time.
Well, we'll take good care.
Yeah,
I know
really.
you will.
We'll be talking about it. 303-793-3000. Maybe we can grab her for the show to come on.